Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we are going to analyze a very interesting poem titled Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, written by the famous Welsh poet Dylan Thomas. This poem is in the syllabus of the first semester BCA SAP syllabus under Bangalore University. So let's know very briefly about the poem in the introduction part. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas is a poem about fighting against death. The poet asks people, especially his father, not to accept death quietly, but to resist it with strength and passion, to face it with strength and passion. He talks about different kinds of people like wise people, good man, wild man, and grave man who all fight against the idea of dying. Using the powerful images of light and darkness, the poem shows life as bright and death as dark. It is both a personal message to his father and a universal reminder to live fully and fight until the end. So it's a very personal poem written for Dylan Thomas' father, who died on 15th December 1952. So that is a brief information about the poem. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. Now, let's try to analyze the poem stanza wise. There are 6 stanzas in this poem. Stanza number 1. The poet says, Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage against the dying of the light. So here, the poet tells the people not to accept death quietly. He says that even the old age should fight against the end of life instead of giving in to it peacefully. You need to say accept it as well as fight against it. Rage. In this stanza, rage means to resist or to fight with a great force. That good night is a metaphor for death. Burn and rave. The expression burn and rave suggests passion, intensity, and fighting against the inevitable. What is inevitable? The death is the inevitable. And finally, the expression dying of the light symbolizes the end of life, that is death. So this is about stanza number 1. Now, the stanza number 2, 1 minute. Stanza number 2, the poet says, though wise men at their end know dark is right, because the words had fogged no lightning they do not go gentle into that good night. So the poet says that in this stanza, the poet says that even the wise men who understand that death is a natural part of life should still fight it. He believes that their wisdom may not have made a big impact in the world, and this makes them want to resist death even more. So the expression wise men here refers to those people who have lived long lives and understand that death is a natural part of human experience. The word dark here symbolizes the death, and the phrase dark is right. That means death is inevitable and it's a part of life's cycle. The expression poked, no lightning, here refers to the idea of wisdom or actions that create a lasting, powerful effect. That's about stanza number 2. Stanza number 3, the poet says, good man, the last wave by, crying how bright, their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay, rage against the dying of the light. So here the poet is speaking about those good men who are near the end of their lives, and now they regret that. They regret that their actions were not powerful, were not lasting. They wish their actions, their good deeds, had shone brightly but now it's too late. Still, they fight against dying. So, good men are those who reflect on their past actions at the end of their lives. The expression the last wave by suggests they are near the death, they are looking back at their lives with regret. The expression frail deed represent the good actions or intentions these men had. But now, in the end of the life, at the end of the life, they feel that their deeds, their actions were too small, were too insignificant to have made a lasting difference. They could not make a great difference. The Green Bay is a metaphor for a place of growth, beauty, or potential, but the deeds never had the chance to shine or thrive there. That's about stanza number 3. Now we are moving to stanza number 4. The poet says, wild man who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. The expression wild man here refers to those people who lived passionately, who took risk, and who pursued the exciting adventures. Something like as they caught and sang the sun in flight. So this line suggests that they lived very vibrant lives, chasing the dreams and living very freely. That's why they have mentioned here wild men. But now these wild men, they realize that they wasted the time, they mourn the life they missed, even though they see their mistakes, and they still continue to fight against death. The poem, now there's a repetition of the expression, do not go gentle into that good night. Why there's a repetition here? The reason is here the poet is calling them to resist death, even if the actions were not perfect. So now we are moving to stanza number 5. The poet says, grave man near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay, rage, rage against the dying of the light. So in this stanza, the grave men are those people who are close to death, but now they see the truth with a great clarity. What's the truth? Death. That's the truth of the life. The phrase see with blinding sight suggests that these individuals who are near the death, they are gaining a deeper understanding or insight into life. Perhaps they never had the clarity about the life earlier, but then now they are observing it very closely. Even though these men may be physically weak or sick or blind, the poet suggests that the inner spirit can still blaze brightly. Blaze means shine brightly like a meteor streaking across the sky. Just like the meteor, their inner spirit should also shine. The word gay here means the cheerful, full of life, which suggests that even in the face of death, there's still a capacity for joy and brightness. There's still a scope for the joy and the brightness. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The repetition of this line emphasizes the central message of the poem. What's the central message of the poem? Resist death with all your might, with all your strength, even if your physical body is failing, even if you are losing the strength, but still with the existing power, you have to resist it, you have to fight with it, you have to struggle with it. That is a central message, and that's a reason for the repetition of the expression rage, rage against the dying of the light. Last stanza. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. In this stanza, the final stanza, the poet directly addresses his father, who is on the deathbed. Sad height here refers to the place where his father is in a position where he can not longer avoid the death. He is near the end of his life. Curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. The poet expresses a kind of mixture of emotions. He asks his father to curse and bless him, showing the deep emotional turmoil and the complex relationship between them. The fierce tears refer to the powerful emotions his father might express even in his final moments. So the poet repeats his request, his plea for his father not to accept the death peacefully. He desperately asks for his father to continue fighting against the death. And finally, the poet repeats the line, rage, rage against the dying of the light. The final repetition of the line shows the poem's central theme. The poet wants his father to continue fighting for life, even at the end, despite knowing that death is inevitable. So, this is the explanation of six stanzas. And finally, what do we conclude? We conclude saying that the poem Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night is a very powerful poem about resisting death and living with passion until the very end, even near the deathbed. Dylan Thomas urges people, requests people of all ages and the life experiences to fight against the death, not to give in quietly, not to give in peacefully, but to face the end with strength and the defiance. The central message of the poem is that life should be lived fully and fiercely, even as the death approaches. So it's inevitable, but we must face it. We must face it even till the last breath of the light, last breath of the life. That's what he is going to keep on requesting his father. Face it until you die. So, friends, this is how I have tried to simplify this poem, Do Not Go Into the Gentle Night. So, this is how I have tried my best. Hope you like the explanation of this poem. If you like it, click on the like button, write in the comment box, give your feedback. If you haven't yet subscribed my channel, do subscribe. I have completed all the videos summary. Oh, sorry, I completed all the lesson summary of first BCA. Just check the description box or the playlist. You'll get all the videos links that's going to help you in the examination. Thank you so much. Stay in tune with Mukesh English.